Hello, welcome to this next video. Today I'm talking about study skills with Mr. Wheeler, finding your space. What does your space look like? And what the heck does that mean in regards to school? So I hope you love this adorable picture of this cat typing on a computer and this guy in his space. He looks like he's working, but he's got a little magic because he's got books floating around him. And I honestly didn't notice that the first time I saw this picture. Um, Today we're just going to overview really what space looks like and why it's important for us to have. Usually when I do the slide deck, it's a presentation to a group, but we don't need to know this right now. Consider this. So this is where you're going to use your pen and your pad of paper and answer some of these questions. What do you do for fun? And how long can you do whatever that is before you notice how much time has passed? And then how often do you think about doing other things? I'm sorry, how often do you think about doing that thing while you're doing other things? Is it on your mind all the time? So take a minute and answer these questions and read a couple of the other ones and write it down. So pause the video and answer those questions. As you answer those questions, it's really hopefully interesting for you to notice that there are some things that you do that really time flies and you don't even notice it. And you think about them all the time and you love doing them. That's a part of our brain that's joy, right? We're enjoying it. There's when we do leisure, we do things for fun. We're living in the moment. And school sometimes isn't that, right? So school isn't that the most fun thing ever, and it takes a lot of energy just to focus on school. So it's not that. So I wanted to take a moment to recognize what is something that you do love and just notice how awesome it is and how you don't even notice the time. And maybe it's people you're spending time with, stuff like that. But then the contrast is school. So some people love school the way you love whatever it is you just wrote about, but maybe you don't love school, so it takes a lot of energy to focus on it. So the purpose of having a good space is to give you um, a safety net, if you will, or a space where you're most productive, a dedicated location that is all you do. Because what we're going to work on between this presentation and another one that I'll share is how to concentrate and how to stay focused doing something that you need to do but you don't really want to do. It's not this fun category. So that's the purpose of that little journal activity. So thanks for trying it. Study space guidelines. So we're going to talk about what a study space looks like. I'll actually move my computer real quick, and I can show you what I've got here. So this is my space. Now I work here, so this isn't my study space. This is my workspace, but it's similar. I need to be productive here. I have some fidget stuff, but I don't have games. I'm not playing on my phone while I'm working. My at-home desk, because I am in school also, is very similar to this. It's very clean. There are some things that remind me of home, make me feel nostalgic a little bit, make me feel comfortable. But this is it. This is a quiet space. I can shut the door. I'm lucky enough to have that privileged space. If you don't have a space where you can shut the door, maybe try to find a way to have a divide, to have a separate space. So let's just talk about some basic areas that are important to have. So identify a space, identify a corner of a room, identify somewhere where you can make your own little study nook or your space. And in that, you're going to hopefully remove all distractions. Granted, your computer probably or phone is one of the largest distractions you could have, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But remove other distractions. Make time. We talked about time and scheduling earlier on. Make time for when you're in this space, no one bugs you, if that's possible. Have easy access to everything. You know, in my desk drawers, I've got everything I need. I've got referral information. I've got important things for work related things, but then I also have important things at home. All of my books, my study books, things that help me with school is all right there. So I don't have to go look in another room or go look in another spot. There's a lot of value in having, all of your stuff within arm's reach. Adjust. Number 5 here is adjust your study space to the ideal temperature. And then above that, number 4 is lighting. Play around with the lighting. If anybody's seen my office, they know I like it kind of dim. I like it calmer. And there's actually research that shows calmer lighting um, allows for more creativity, oddly enough. So in a counseling room, I like it to be more calm and warm from the lighting because it allows us to have more creative discussion and conversation. The cold lighting, which is maybe the fluorescent lights above me, allow for more an extended length of focus, right? You're able to maybe focus longer. So maybe you're not as creative if you're really buying into the lighting research. But that's the idea: is the warmer, dimmer lighting is more creative work, but then the brighter lights, the colder lighting is more longer lasting. You'll study for longer. Play around with what you're comfortable with. I like a cold space. I don't like to be hot, so I like to bundle up, wear a sweater. It makes me feel comfortable. So I like a colder room. Um, Random tips: don't let thoughts distract you. I've already mentioned the notepad. Have a notepad, write some things down. If you're focusing on something and you think about another thing, use the notepad to write your distracted thoughts down. You'll get back to them later. Let yourself know, okay, I've got that. Now I'm going to focus on this schoolwork. Take breaks. We've talked about that every 30 to 60 minutes. Find out what works for you. Know that your space is a work in progress. Start with whatever you've got, and over time, you'll develop it. I just added a thing at my wall at home that's kind of like this board here. I've got a chalkboard and a little whiteboard that I can use for reference. Everything's going to continue to change. Make the best of what you have. Make it work within what you currently have, and then over time, maybe you'll add to it or change it. Some essential study space items I have on the right. You can read those over, and take note or add more. Shoot me an email if you have other suggestions or ideas that you do. Those are always helpful. Just some pictures of some examples. I love the one on the left because it's got that notepad. I like that book holder. I don't have one of those, but now that I see it, of course I want it. I'm not one for the one in the middle, but some people like really darker spaces. That is looks like a bunk bed in maybe a college residence hall, but that works out for that person. I like the one on the top right. I like how bright and spacious that is. Couple more. That one on the left looks like a gamer to me who maybe records his or her gaming system and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. This one's nice because it kind of shows like a living room. Maybe they don't have an office space, so they make up a space in maybe a living room area that works for them. They have a lot of daylight right there too. Right next to a window is really good. Bottom right looks like they're working in a classroom or on a college campus somewhere. You can find, if you have the stuff and you keep it in a book bag and you have a space where there's a desk, go to a library, take over wherever you're at and make that your space. It doesn't have to be at home. It can be wherever you are. Temperature check. Here's where we'll use our journal on the side. How organized is your study space? So maybe write that down as a heading and then describe it. And then a couple of these other questions is your current system working well for you? Are you able to focus for 45 minutes at a time in your space? Or do you get interrupted a lot? Do you get distracted a lot? Why is that? How do you get distracted? What's happening? When you identify and write those things down, you're going to help yourself make a plan for how to change it, right? Maybe you'll set up boundaries with your family members. Maybe you'll put your phone in another room for the 45 minutes, whatever that is. What would work? What would you change if you could? If you had the ideal situation, what would it look like? And then maybe you can't have the ideal situation. Maybe you don't have an extra room in your house where you can have that as a dedicated office, but you can still write down that might be your ideal space. And then from there, you can make a plan for bridging that gap. What does it look like until I have that space? Maybe I leave the house and I go somewhere else. There's a lot of potentials out there. Barriers. This is my visual cue to the word barrier. This is literally a barrier. These are barriers. All of these things, when I go back to that last question, what would you change if you could? Everything that's in the way of getting you to that is a barrier. So you can make a list of all of those barriers, and then you can check them off as you accomplish or overtake those barriers and make a plan to get around them. Burning tree in the middle of the city. Very interesting visual. Anytime I do these videos over time, if you watch all of them, you're going to notice these little images on this slide. They're going to have a picture from all my different presentations. And this one is compiling the bookends, planning one day to the other. I would actually use your journal again and just answer some of these questions. How will you change your study space How does this relate to a previous session that we've had? Let me move my little image so you can read that. What will you change about it? How might this help you in the future? Just answer those questions. Again, this is just for you. If you want to be done, that's cool. But hopefully these questions prompt you to think about what will work for you and how you'll move forward. Thanks for joining. I'm going to share this link. Of course, I always ask that if you watch these videos, fill out this form. It just lets me know what you liked about it, if you would recommend it to somebody else, and then any suggestions or requests for what you would like me to cover sometime in the future. And that is all for today. I really thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy these videos. We'll talk soon.